Yo, I'm Joe.
And I'm Jordan.
Welcome to another episode of Geeks and Governance. And today we're here to talk to you about Peacemaker Season 1 and a little bit about the events from the Suicide Squad that led us to this fantastic show, honestly.
Yes, sir. Yep. And this is not just another episode. This is episode 1, man. This is the real kickoff. I mean, we're gonna have our intro video up there. So anybody who wants to learn a little bit more about us, my best friend Joe and myself, you guys can listen to that. It's about 15 minutes long, maybe shorter after Spencer gets done editing it. But this is the official first episode of the Geeks and Governance podcast, and I thank anybody who's given us a shot. Hopefully, we earn your listen and keep you coming back for more, man. So Joe,
absolutely, we definitely plan on whoring ourselves out with shorts as well. So maybe you catch us there.
Yeah, absolutely, get us. And we're gonna try to be all over the socials, man. I mean, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, all that stuff. We already have our YouTube channel. You can hit us up at Geeks and Governance on YouTube. We're the only channel with that name. And we're going to be uploading content. So today we're getting into our first episode here, season 1 of Peacemaker. So something we're really excited to bring you guys. It's probably my favorite show on TV right now. I mean, how do you feel, Joe?
I would have to agree. It's up there with I did see something recently that blew my mind, but it's totally out of the spectrum of what we're talking about. But
right,
as far as like long-term shows, dude, Peacemaker has been a diamond in the rough. I love the the wait was brutal. The 5-year wait was brutal, but but I will say, it's some of the most entertaining television I've ever seen in my life.
Honestly, I think it came at a good time because I think the superhero fatigue was really starting to set in for a lot of people. And like Marvel obviously was still churning out whatever they call, their product these days. But I just don't think people were receiving it really well. And then you have James Gunn, who first off
Disney, if you're listening to this, by the way, we think Marvel is great and we would love some of that Disney money.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. Let me get some free tickets to Disney World, the Star Wars Center, free lightsaber. Sure. I'm in there. No, but I mean, in all seriousness, I think people were getting, real superhero fatigue. James Gunn comes in, he revives the Suicide Squad because that movie flopped, the original one, obviously. Anybody who's seen it, the one with Will Smith, Jared Leto as the Joker.
We all love Jared Leto.
We all love Jared Leto so much. We don't actually, but
hero.
That movie was a huge flop and I think a big disappointment for a lot of people. So when he dropped the Suicide Squad in 2021, that movie, I don't know that it had a ton of hype because of how bad the other one flopped. But I mean,
it also came out during COVID. There was a lot of restrictions. It went right to streaming.
Nobody was going to movie theaters, dude. Nobody.
Nobody.
Nobody. They probably, most of them weren't even open. But I mean, that movie was so good. It was so funny. I mean, the first 20 minutes, I don't think I stopped laughing once. Like I had pains in my side from laughing so bad.
And as far as the superhero genre goes and what James Gunn has been able to do with it is really incredible. Because like you were saying, the superhero fatigue going on during the late 2010s was so real. I mean, every movie was kind of like a copy and paste clone of the next. Obviously,
Giant Sky Beam.
Guardians of the Giant Sky Beams. Obviously, he did Guardians of the Galaxy, and that was great. But when he made the switch to DC initially for the Suicide Squad project, I was not sure what to expect. I didn't know much about James Gunn as a director, really.
Well, had you seen the Guardians of the Galaxy movies already?
I had seen the first one, and that was it. And
I think I may have been the same. Maybe the first, maybe the second one I had seen at that point. And I was a fan, but, I don't know that I was as invested in those movies and in those characters as I am with the other ones he's created around the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker and so on.
Right. So I would say that movie, The Suicide Squad, for me, made James Gunn a household name.
Right.
And then when we got the news that he was going to be making a spin-off show about Peacemaker, I was like, that's going to flop. It's going to be horrible. That is my
Yeah.
initial thoughts and feelings. Honestly, I didn't
I
even
was
watch it
excited
for a
because of
while.
John Cena. I knew that I loved John Cena's character, even though his character was such a piece of shit. He did such a great job with the character that I was
Fantastic.
excited to see more of it. As soon as I heard, I was super excited.
Right, right. And you know, when I finally did get around to watching Peacemaker, I think it was off of your recommendation.
Okay, okay.
Same with the boys, honestly. So shout out to you. Because I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
over superheroes just in general. And
Right.
I was super
Understandably
hesitant.
so. You
Yeah.
and like half the country, man.
Yeah, at
Like
least.
honestly.
So, yeah, but when I dove in, man, I mean, everything from Vigilante and whatever, and the place where it picks up from, you know, being right after the Suicide Squad or several months later or even years, it doesn't really specify, but,
Right.
you know, he's the bad guy towards the end. He's working for Waller. He kills Rick Flag Jr.
Mhm.
And then fast forward, he wakes up in the hospital. He's looking at his glutes. He's fucking talking about his X-rays, not complimenting his bodies, his body mass, and whatever else is going on in his head. I mean, it was incredible. And they literally tell him, it's like, yeah, you survived a building falling on you and being shot in the neck, and you know you somehow survived. um
Right.
which leads to him thinking he's free and he could just leave the hospital. So when he does that, you're like, oh, I don't know where this is gonna go. This seems kind of slow and weird. He hops in a taxi. He's got his metal helmet with him.
Right. Right, he does
Yeah.
have a pretty great back and forth with the hospital staff too. That guy
uh,
working, he was like, "Oh, you're Peacemaker, you're that racist fucking superhero." Like, "Man, you're a real dick." And he's like, and I think that's as funny and simple as like a interaction as that was. I think it shows that's like kind of the first time where it's like, "Wait, hold on. That's what people think about me?" Like that's the first time Peacemaker that I
right.
think that thought ever goes through his head. Um,
Sorry, guys,
so
bit of allergies.
this guy, you're good, man. The so so he recovers from his wounds. He tries to leave the hospital, but obviously he's not going to get far because Argus is on his back. Argus
On
is
his
of
back.
course the same group that was leading the mission for the Suicide Squad and
Right, taking
the
prisoners
Amanda
out of Belle
Waller.
Reve and forcing them into these dangerous high stake missions in exchange for time off their incredibly long sentences.
Incredibly long.
So, you
Yeah.
know, because they're all murderers and
Yeah.
psychopaths. um,
Yeah.
but yeah, and that brings us to a really interesting place where right away, you know, he goes back to his house. You start listening to the voicemails from Vigilante. I mean, that was one of the funniest scenes. Like even now, even with season 2 happening, I still think that's peak
Right.
Peacemaker with that first episode, and just giving us a solid introduction into who this character is outside of like, you know, an ultra patriotic goon. Let's
Right.
face it, you know.
Yeah, well, he
And
was
then
pretty
Argus,
one note in the Suicide Squad movie, so,
right,
he was pretty one note, so you go into this show, season 1, kind of expecting more of the same,
right.
and, I think
And I
that
think they
changes pretty
deliver on
quick.
that to a certain extent. Like
Right,
that's the bridge they're gapping.
right,
But I mean, even after he gets confronted by Argus,
the
he
gap they're bridging.
right, he
That
gets
fucked me up for
confronted
a
by
second.
Argus, Amelia Harcourt. You got Myrn, Adebayo. They all come in with their guns drawn. John Economist is eating 6-year-old pickles out of the fridge.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, it's like, yeah, that stuff's been in there for the entire time I've been away.
100%.
Amazing.
And so he reluctantly has to join this group, or he's got to go back to Belle Reve and serve out
Right,
his sentence. That's the deal. You know,
right,
whether he agrees to it or not, that's what he has to do.
yeah.
Um, and you know, in reminiscence of the Suicide Squad, you know, Project Starfish, not a very original name. We have
No, no,
a
but it was
follow-up
fitting.
version of that.
It
It
was
was,
fitting.
yeah.
It was extremely fitting. I did not expect a giant starfish with a bunch of million little mini starfish. but I get it. I mean, Project Starfish makes sense now. It's
Yeah,
a mad
yeah,
thing.
yep, and that
Kind of
leads
like
us to yeah,
yeah, Project Butterfly. So yeah,
yep.
it leads us to Project Butterfly. So then when you're like, all right, so are they going to be fighting giant giant butterflies? I don't understand what's
Is it a
happening here. Space
Mothra?
butterflies?
He literally asked
Mothra.
if it was a
Oh,
Mothra. Yeah,
he did ask if it's a Mothra. It would be pretty good to watch them fight a Mothra, but
for sure.
alas, it is different. And they kind of string us along for a little while on the butterflies. It kind of builds up some good tension and builds some interest in the plot pretty early on, like in the first or second episode. Um, because you want to know, it's like, all right, well, what are these butterflies? Like, what are they? Like, I don't understand what's going on with it. Well, it turns out butterflies are alien parasites. They're infiltrating human hosts. They're overtaking
Trying
them,
to
and they
control
basically just control their
politics.
bodies. Yeah, they're like it's like
Yeah,
Invasion of the Body Snatchers, um, and Peacemaker. So I mean, he has to join these guys and fight them. And do you remember the first episode where it's I don't know if it's the first or second episode, but it's been a little while, right? He goes to the bar, he goes out, he has some drinks, and sees this white trash girl, and he's like, "Oh yeah," and he's like, "Yeah, she's got like a mullet haircut. It's like right out of like an '80s rock video." He's like, "Yeah, I'm taking that home for sure." Um,
100%. Those that BBL is rock hard, and so am I.
yeah. And dude, he takes her home, and they do the what do you call it, the
Hopping
good
on the
dance on
good
the bad
foot,
foot?
doing the bad thing.
Hop
Yeah,
on the good foot doing the bad thing. Yeah,
I
that's the
think I
one.
stole that from Futurama.
That's awesome. So they do that. Everybody, I'm assuming knows what we're talking about here, right? They have sex. They have sex, and then
They do it.
he's like singing in the mirror. You sound like ballads, some like rock ballad, and it's like oddly emotional. And then she attacks him. Does she stab him in the back with a knife, Joe?
I think she stabs him right here around, just
Okay, yeah, because
right
she
in the
she
shoulder
rushes him
blade.
with the knife, and he like turns around at the last second, right?
Yes, a hundred
And
percent.
normally, Peacemaker, he's again jacked, yeah, absolutely enormous. It's John Cena. I mean,
Yeah,
so he would normally destroy this thing, and it turns out that's a butterfly, and that makes them super strong, super
yeah,
strong.
super
Starts
strong.
throwing them through walls and shit.
Basically, metahuman freaks, as he refers to them
Right,
as.
right.
And we also see in that very first episode we meet his dad immediately,
Oh yeah, that's
Augie
huge.
Smith,
That's huge.
and
Almost skipped over Augie.
you see right away that he doesn't agree with his father, but he's dependent on him for his basically his entire persona, the Peacemaker
Yeah, his
persona,
identity.
because
Mhm.
he makes all of his gear, his helmets, his tech, so which we
Right.
still don't know how he was able to do that even as of season 2, as far as I know. Did not see
Right.
tonight's episode, but we will, that'll be revealed. But he's he's just a blatant staunch white supremacist. He's watching basically the DC Universe's version of Alex Jones, and he's going off
Mhm.
talking about there's aliens, lizard people controlling all the liberals and snowflakes, and it turns out not to be that far from the truth in this world,
Right.
which is great, but you
Yes.
know at the end of the day, this connotation that society has about Peacemaker and being a racist superhero, quote unquote, is that his father was the White Dragon, who is a self-proclaimed superhero, but definitely a supervillain, with
Yeah.
without a doubt. Yeah,
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 with
yeah,
a
yeah.
huge following, and so as him growing up with his father, the mother is the mother ever mentioned, or just not really even mentioned?
No,
I don't remember her being mentioned as died or anything like that. All we know really is that Peacemaker, Chris Smith, grew up with his younger brother and his father, and at a young age, in some kind of crazy like child fighting pit with like a crowd of grown ass men around them, he was forced to fight his brother in like a brutal bare knuckle fight. And I guess he was egged on so much, or just broken to the point, or whatever, that he kills his brother with his little brother, or his older brother, right? It was his older brother.
older
Yeah, it
brother.
was his older
Yeah,
brother. Yeah, he kills him with his bare hands. And
yep.
that really, not only does that mess him up, but that it sticks him with just left with Augie and his rage and his hate, which he already has so much, and now
Eh,
you just killed
yeah.
his other son that he actually liked more than you,
And it
and
also
that
leads to him taking his lifelong vow, of peace at any cost.
yeah, peace at any cost,
No matter how many
which I
men,
want
women,
to
and
touch on
children
that
he
real
needs to
quick. I think,
kill.
but yeah, men, no matter how many men, women, and children need to die in order to obtain it, it's
Yeah,
worth it for peace. Which
it's
is obviously like when he says it and he just spells it in black and white. It's like obviously when you're talking about killing men, women, and children, that's never a good thing. But like just the name in and of itself, I want you guys to think about Peacemaker, like Peacemaker.
yeah, it's
Can you
oxymoronic.
It is oxymoronic, thank you, exactly. As you don't peace is not made, peace exists because of the inherent good qualities of people and our need to kind of cooperate
Connect.
and
Yeah,
connect as a society in order to succeed and strive forward.
right.
So, making peace, that's really usually kind of a tunnel vision, or either a one person or a one party ideology. Their version of peace is not necessarily the rest of the world's version of peace. And we're going to
Right.
touch on that a
And you
lot in
see
this episode
the cracks in that ideology pretty quickly. I mean, he's
quickly.
sitting
Yep.
down and he's upset with himself for making fun of John Economos because obviously he's like, this person could be a friend, and I'm such a D bag that I ruin everything. Basically, is like
Yeah.
where I
And he's
where I
just
was coming
sobbing.
from. And
He's just sobbing
Vigilante
and
comes
crying.
rapping on the window.
He's like, wait, are you crying? He's like, no, I'm
No,
doing face
I'm doing
workouts.
face muscle exercises. You can't get a face like this without doing some exercise. You wish you had a face like this.
It's just so
Right
absurd.
away. Super
It's so
defensive.
absurd.
And he's sitting down with Vidge and he's going and he goes, "Hey man, you ever think basically that what we do is wrong, like all this senseless violence or whatever?" And Vigilante just looks him straight in the face and goes, when I have to go out there and I have to kill somebody who's robbed somebody or hurt somebody or did some graffiti. Uh, do you think that makes me feel good? And Peacemaker's just shaking his head. He's like, no, it can't, not at all. And Vince goes, well, it does. It's just
Well, it
a
does.
perfect line delivery. And you
Yeah.
see John Cena's face just come to the realization, like, oh my God, I'm just as crazy as this guy.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
listen, I want to shout out Freddie Stroma real quick. I had no idea who he was until this show, but he has
Right.
done so well with this vigilante character. He's so absurd. His line delivery is so good, and he was a kind of like a last minute replacement. Apparently, the
Yeah,
the
they had
actor that
already
they had lined
filmed,
up,
I think, 6 episodes worth.
right?
And then that actor, I don't think they ever released his name, but that actor had some scheduling conflicts. There wasn't going to be around to play the character
Hmm.
in the long term,
Right.
basically.
It fell
And
through.
so James Gunn had to recast, and he could not have picked a better person. That being said, too, I mean, even Peacemaker was supposed to be played by John Batista.
Wow,
Yeah, that's who
that's
he
pretty wild.
originally intended the role for in the Suicide Squad. And
Hmm.
again, scheduling conflicts, things like that, it couldn't happen. But
Yeah, which
now
makes
he's
sense because obviously Batista was in Guardians of the Galaxy with James Gunn
Endgame
and
also. Yeah.
oh yeah, Endgame too.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
oh my god, I almost forgot about those characters being in Endgame. Um,
Right.
it was pretty cool though. I mean, Batista's definitely a great actor. I don't know that
But
he would have
now
been able to do this character justice.
I could
No,
never imagine Peacemaker being played by anybody else. You know what
anybody
I mean?
else, right? Yeah,
No,
exactly.
that
I think it's a
that's
pretty iconic role as far as John Cena's career, man. I think this will go down as one of his best roles. I really
Oh,
do.
without a doubt. And it's funny because John Cena in real life couldn't be further from who Peacemaker is as a
Yeah,
character. Even through
right.
all the development we've seen of his character, like John Cena's just not that guy,
No,
which makes it incredible. And there's more of that
no,
we'll
he's a
touch
giant
on when
sweetheart.
we do our season 2 video. But um now, like it's just he's a big sweetheart. He's not necessarily a big goon, but Peacemaker is. He's just a
Right.
big goony bastard.
John Cena holds the world record for most Make-A-Wishes like fulfilled. He's done more Make-A-Wishes than anybody else, and the second is really not close. He's given a tremendous amount of his time for terminally ill kids and stuff like that. It's pretty
That's
admirable,
incredible.
man. Yeah, it
Yeah,
really is.
yeah.
Um,
It would be sad for those kids though, because they can't
you
even
ask to
see
see
him.
John Cena. Yeah, he shows you're like they tell you that John Cena's here, and you're like, okay,
I
waiting for
hear
him to
John
walk through the
Cena.
door. Yeah, I can see him. Yeah, that's I just don't. That's yeah.
That joke will never get old to me.
Never,
If
never ever.
if this ends up as a short, I know the comments are going to be, "That's a lame joke. Shut up. We hate you
Fuck
guys."
off.
But we hate you too. So that's the truth. But
So to kind of wrap up, I mean, plot kind of plot arcs here. Well, I guess not really wrap up. I mean, we kind of need to still just get into the thick of the plot here. I mean, first season, so he joins Argus. We talked a little bit about the Argus group and the specifically the team that is tasked to take on Project Butterfly, who ends up being the 11th Street Kids. Is that correct? The 11th
the
Street
11th
Kids.
Street Kids, that's
They
right.
they they end up naming themselves that, which is awesome. Um, the so the plot. I mean, we take off. We're learning some things about the butterflies. We're learning that they operate, that they're alien parasites. That they're basically. Do we want to skip right to the end, or how far deep do we want to go as far as a breakdown on this plot?
I mean, I would say that it's obviously Spencer. This is shop talk that edit
Yeah,
this
he
out.
can edit out. He can edit some
But
of it out. He can leave some of it in. Whatever. Yeah,
yeah, if it's
we're
funny
growing here.
enough, for sure. But I would say to go a little bit deeper, like if we wanted to talk about his relationship with John Economos, with Amelia Harcourt, like how that kind of kicks off. Is it romantic? It's not necessarily a will they won't they situation. Um,
Right,
not until the following season, but it is definitely, there's some kind of tension there. And just from the background, and I'm sure James Gunn is the type of person who's had this in mind, but Amelia Harcourt and Rick Flag Jr. used to be a little bit of an item, or at least pretty close friends with benefits. And so this
and that was implied in the Suicide Squad movie.
right, yeah,
Yeah, that was implied in the Suicide Squad movie, not necessarily,
drawn
um
out, but
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. And so she's got like an innate hatred of him immediately. He just thinks he's a douche, he's a murderer, he's a violent sociopath. And
Right.
all of these things are kind of true. They're not necessarily
No,
too
she's not
far
wrong.
off. No,
She's
she's
not
not
wrong.
wrong. But that leads them to, to finding out who the butterflies are. Myrn is obviously a butterfly himself. And Harcourt doesn't find out until way later when he survives an explosion going into Goff's mansion. And that kind of puts the pieces together for her. But even then,
Right,
they decide to keep Peacemaker in the dark after he's proven himself to be a major asset to this intergalactic threat,
right.
basically, even though he doesn't know it's an intergalactic threat.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so that rubs him the wrong way. He calls him out on it. Leads to a lot of awkwardness. They go on a mission to what is it, raid the bottling plant. And
oh,
and
yeah, they're bottling all, like, the goo that the butterflies survive off of, that
right,
they,
and
like,
then we
eat,
get
yeah.
kind of an A plot B plot where Peacemaker's father, Augie Smith, is dead set on getting revenge on his son and killing him, not only for what he sees as murdering the good son, so to speak,
Mhm,
but also being the reason that he's in jail, and or was in jail or whatever. And so before that
right.
final confrontation where they go to kill the cow, they have to deal with
Yes.
Peacemaker's father, and that's a whole bag of worms in and of itself.
Right. Right, but yeah, I mean, Peacemaker, his father was obviously a bad guy, and they get into this ultimate confrontation, and what ends up happening is Peacemaker kills his father,
Yeah.
which is crazy. And so now he killed his older brother when he was a kid, and he killed his father as an adult. Two very different killings for with different reasonings behind them.
Right.
But still, I mean, that's heavy for any person to carry, no matter how much of like a killing machine you are, no matter how much you've been trained to kill your entire life with very
And
little
we
to no
do see it
discretion.
kind of cracks him. He starts to hallucinate his father in places. He's
Yep.
having full
Yep.
blown conversations with him. Even the
Right.
final scene of the show, he's drinking a beer on the porch, sitting next to Ghost Dad, um, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
at Eagly. And he's even got Goff in a jar, who I assume dies by, the start of season 2 because there's no more goo
Right.
to
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
around. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But as for the final confrontation, what really struck me about it and what made it interesting, because when I was watching it for the first time, I thought it could have gone any way. I thought that he could have joined the butterflies, betrayed all his friends, killed them all,
Hmm.
for his oath, because they invoked that in him during the final confrontation. Their whole
Yep.
thing is they want to save Earth by taking over humanity, you know, and they make a pretty valid argument that humanity can't be trusted to take care of their own planet.
Right.
Even though it's pretty hypocritical coming from a race that apparently destroyed their own planet.
Yeah. But they think
Um,
they could do better with our planet, which
Right,
is pretty funny.
exactly. Yeah, it's pretty funny. And they Goff basically tells them that their vows are the same. They made a vow to ensure peace by any cost, no matter what they had to do to obtain it. And
Hmm.
they try to appeal to that other sense. And apparently, according to James Gunn, the original script did actually call for him to do what I had mentioned.
Oh wow. I
Yeah,
didn't even know that.
which makes it feel more on the fence on a first watch. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And but he ultimately decides to do the right thing, activate torpedo, human
Mhm.
torpedo,
Yep.
and Autobio goes flying into the cow, absolutely
Yeah.
decimates
That
it.
was so
Probably one of
awesome.
the funniest scenes of
That's
all
so
time.
great.
Um, Also, the second time I will say that a person or a protagonist in a James Gunn film came crawling out of a giant monster. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember at the end of the Suicide Squad, Harley Quinn jumps in the Starro's eye for like no
Yes.
reason.
Yes, yes, because Harley Quinn's absolutely batshit crazy, that's the reason.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
the
yeah. Like
reason.
she wasn't doing
Uh,
anything in that eye, dude. I don't know how she didn't drown, but but just like
and you know
Harley
what?
Quinn.
If I had to put a bet on it, that won't be the last time a protagonist crawls out of a giant monster's orifice in one of James Gunn's films or movies, I guarantee it.
I agree. We have plenty of
Uh,
kaiju's in our future.
yes,
Um,
absolutely, and thank God for that. Um So, and going back to the Butterfly's offer to Chris and to Peacemaker, that kind of draws a reflection to what I was looking back, just going back to what I was saying, making peace with that being one group, being the butterflies, that was their ideology. Their idea of peace was taking over Earth, taking over humans' free will, making it their idea of peace, their idea of a better world. And while maybe, in some, maybe they had a point, again, we're not really doing a great job taking care of our planet. We're really not. But it just shows you like one group's perspective versus another group's perspective, even though it looks like they're doing everything for the right reasons. When you look at it like that, it's like, wow, that's actually super fucked up. Like that's not okay.
Yeah, your methods eventually define your goals. You know what I
Right.
mean? No matter
Yeah.
how just they may seem. I mean, even history is a complicated thing. Like you look at a guy like Che Guevara, who made a lot of good points, was a
Mhm.
revolutionary thinker, also super fucking violent, responsible for a bunch of atrocities. In a bunch of places, especially under Fidel Castro, when he was one of his top guys.
Uh-huh.
So there's nuance, there's duality, and I think James Gunn delivers that with top tier excellence. in this show in particular. I think across all his projects, but I think this show does a really good job at drawing the line, and especially when it comes to, you know, ideologies like, all right, what's it mean to be patriotic, right? And what's it mean
Right.
to be a nationalist? And if you're going to be patriotic, you know, you love your country, um, but that doesn't mean you'll do anything to justify its existence. You know what I mean? You're not,
Right.
yeah, you're not for the
Right.
murder of innocents. You're not, you know what I mean? But if you are a hard nationalist, there's a dangerous line there,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Absolutely. And I want to put up some definitions real quick, because part of our goal on this podcast is to make sure that we are
There's
giving
a little bit of educational value.
yeah, a little bit of education, and more so like unbiased education. Like, I'm going with Merriam-Webster dictionaries when definitions whenever possible. For example,
Right.
patriotism. The definition of patriotism is love or devotion to one's country, and again, I think that needs to be, you can, that's on a scale. You know, like, to have love
Yeah.
for your country or devotion to your country from one person's perspective could just be mean, pay your taxes, be a decent person, follow the laws, try to do good in your community. And somebody else's idea of patriotism could be, oh, well, America first, Americans over everybody else. If you're a part of my community but you're not American, if you're not from this country, then that's not okay. I have a problem with you. I mean, it's a slippery slope, and like you said, like, you can cross over from patriotism into nationalism real quick. And in case anybody wants to know the definition of nationalism, um, nationalism is an ideology that elevates one nation or nationality above all others, and that places primary emphasis on promotion of its culture and interests as opposed to those of other nations, nationalities, or supranational groups.
Right. And I think one of the great things about America, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree, most people I think would agree, is that anybody could come from anywhere and become a patriot. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can fall in love with this country no matter where you're from or who you are, what your background is, what your religious beliefs are.
Sure. It's an easy
Uh,
country to love. It's pretty great. I love living here. I can speak for
right.
myself.
Yeah, 100%. But you know, that includes everybody. That is the moniker that
Right.
we use to advertise this place as, you know, the streets are made of gold. That those types of, you know, metaphors
Mhm.
that were used in the early 19th century in order to grow our population.
Right.
And I think that's an innate part of who we are as a country. You know, we're not necessarily isolationist, you know, but and obviously we're guilty of nation building and all types of other things. But at
Right.
the end of the day, if you come here, you just want to feed your kids, eat McDonald's, and go to the movies like everybody else. You know what I
That's
mean?
America right there.
That's
Absolutely.
America right there.
The
You shop
picket
at the
fence
Gap.
and the American dream. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
that's a kind of a traditional look on the American dream. And obviously, with technology and advancements in culture and how we share information and what we think is the ideal life, like, that changes, and that's normal.
Yeah,
Um, and
absolutely.
and again, where we kind of, part of that extreme patriotism that you see in a lot of people in our country, and from Peacemaker himself, it kind of moves over to militarism, where militarism is predominance of the military class or its ideals. It's exaltation of, exaltation. I did get that right, of military virtues and ideals. Whenever I read exaltation, I
Well,
just am
no.
reminded of it. I'm just reminded of Luke Skywalker. Greetings, exalted ones.
Exalted
That's
greetings,
the
exalted ones. Yes,
that's like,
100%.
who uses the word exalted in like an average sentence. Luke
George
Skywalker. That's
Lucas.
it. Yes, George Lucas. Totally normal. This is exactly how normal people talk. If you know
No,
what
it's
we're
only
talking
because I'm
about.
so in love with you. And
It's only because I'm so in love. That's awesome. Is that episode 2 or episode 3?
that's episode 2, man. They're on that
Episode
boo.
2. Man, that drags. That whole part of that movie drags.
Yeah, man, we're definitely gonna cover Star Wars in the
We are definitely
future.
going to cover
Yeah.
Star Wars and the taxation of trade routes because that's what those movies were about.
And I feel like that's what's relevant. You
Yes,
know,
the
we're talking
taxation of trade
tariffs.
routes. That's awesome.
Oh my
So, I
god.
mean, militarism. Going back to the militarism, I mean, it's kind of obvious. Peacemaker. I mean, he's a trained killer, and the first time we see him in Suicide Squad, it goes on and on about how he's a trained killer, how anything in his hand is a weapon, kind of like John Wick. But I would like to bring up the fact that John Wick killed a man with one pencil. From what I've seen so far, wow, that's incredible. From what I've seen so far, Peacemaker does need two pencils to kill somebody. And I'm not going to tell you how I know that for sure quite yet, but just know that there is proof.
It's a little bit of a head soup situation.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
pencil blender.
but you know, to bring it back to the Suicide Squad too, on the topic of militarism, like the entire intervention in Corto Maltese, was to hide shady experiments we were doing off land. You know what I mean?
Sorry, my
And
dog just walked in.
no, you're good. Tell him I said hi.
Yeah,
But
show us this guy.
but yeah, so I think like there's a lot of especially like in Creature Commandos, which is kind of a light, like I'm not going to get too into that. That'll be a different video. But in Creature Commandos, which is connected to this show as well, and the rest of the DCU that we're blessed to be seeing,
Right.
um, a lot of it is about interventionism and you know our America's way of kind of putting itself as the world police. And you know that's a big heavy topic that means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And
Yep.
you know, but um it's 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 one of the main central themes I feel of James Gunn's DCU. All the stuff with Argus, you know, going into foreign nations, taking out world leaders,
Mhm.
sending the Suicide Squad to do so
Right.
time and time again. And probably for the main reason of they can wash their hands of it. You know what I mean? If
Right.
anything goes down or doesn't work out the way they want it, um, you know, there's no reason
Yeah.
for them to be guilty
Yeah.
because of it. Yeah.
And and again, we see that a lot in movies. I mean, maybe not necessarily a lot, but the Suicide Squad. I mean, that's a very specific thing. These guys are in a top security prison. They're usually superhero, or not superhero, but super abled
Super able.
individuals. I guess you would say, yeah, super abled
Right.
individuals.
Yeah.
But you're fooling yourself if you don't think that there's been people in real life that have been sent on top covert missions where it's like, okay, well, if you get found out, you're not coming back.
Right.
And we're not going to bring you back. We're not gonna you don't exist as far as we know. And
Right.
there's definitely people, and I guarantee those people were former military, maybe no family, maybe they got I don't know, dishonorable discharge, maybe they got honorable discharge and have issues once released, once out of the service, and they struggle and they're like, all right, well, this is your shot to make something yourself. Like, I guarantee you there's been real life situations. And that's like, I want people to realize, like, these are things that maybe James Gunn puts an absurdist spin on it for comedic value, for entertainment value. But this is
Right.
all stuff that's based on real life. These are all things that really happen. And uh, so that's another main thing about this podcast, man. It's like we're talking about we're talking about entertainment that we love, but we're talking about like real stuff that actually happens too.
Right. And it's the same thing with you know, Peacemaker's whole ideology of killing is fine in service of your nation, or you know, as he puts it, in service of peace, but
A
it's
peace sign.
really in service of the United States, you know what I mean?
Yes. Right.
Which is how he sees it, but it's not necessarily true. I mean, one of those things he did in service was kill a top ranking general, you know what
Right.
I mean, who was trying to
Exactly.
do the right thing. So and that's a demon I'm sure he's going to be fighting until the end of his story. Um,
Yeah.
but
Absolutely.
however that does end. Um,
Can't wait to see how
and,
it does. I'll tell you that much.
yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully with a
Uh,
with a with a musical number, maybe a little dance.
a little dance, yeah, just like the
Maybe
intro.
Yes, dude, I love the intro. Anybody who hasn't watched the intro, I mean, if you've seen the show,
Don't skip
obviously
it.
you've seen the intro, but don't
Yeah,
skip
don't
it. Don't ever
skip
skip it.
it. It's
If
great.
you're on episode 10 and you've seen it 9 times already, do not skip it.
If you're
They worked hard on that.
rewatching episode 8 for the 5th time to talk about it in the podcast,
Don't skip it.
maybe skip it.
All right, maybe skip it. All right, maybe skip it. I'll probably give you that one.
Oh my god. Yes, so and this kind of brings us to, where these hardcore ideologies lead to, or can manifest in a way darker way, outside of, military interventionism and things like that, is the dark shroud of white supremacy, uh that is a part of our history, like it or not. You know what I mean? The Ku
Right.
Klux Klan didn't come from Germany. You know what I mean? In fact,
Mhm.
when Hitler was writing his rules for the ghettos and things like that to oppress the Jewish people and anybody else that he deemed undesirable, that was all ripped right out of Jim Crow and, segregation. He literally modeled his early rule of Germany and the oppression of the Jewish people off of the way America treated black people.
Right.
That's, I mean, almost word for word. He just switched out the word Negro for Jew.
Right. Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's, so we have a long history of that. And another thing this show does is, obviously, it's a bit of a stereotype to say this stuff only exists in rural America. It exists everywhere.
Absolutely.
It's small doses or high, but these extremist ideologies that lead to things like white supremacy is a major centerfold of the first season of this show, especially Peacemaker's father being who he was, which again was a white supremacist supervillain called the White Dragon,
Yeah.
which, if I was a racist, I would think is a pretty badass name.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, the White Dragon. I mean, it hits all the points. Dragons are cool, and apparently they think whites are great. They're just the tops.
We are. I'm fucking around. Jesus Christ.
Oh, shit.
Oh
So
my god.
so and Augie is he's the White Dragon.
It's incredible when you think about it, even the way it's written, that Peacemaker is as good of a person as he is, or Christopher Smith.
100%. Oh, you see it
Yeah,
immediately upon meeting his dad, the very first scene, you're like,
oh,
"Oh, okay, I get it."
oh
Yeah,
god,
it's like well, it's like not only, "Oh god, is this guy a huge piece of shit," but it's also, "Oh, I get it now." Like, I get why Peacemaker is
is
such
the
a
way he
dick,
is.
even
Yeah,
though he obviously is trying to not be, but he can't help himself.
he
He
can't help
literally can't
himself.
help
And, and it's touched upon, he wasn't very good at school. He's got a poor education. There's also a trend with white supremacy where generational racism becomes a real thing, where,
Mhm.
if a racist has two babies, racism is taught. It's not something innate in us from birth. It's
Yeah,
something that, comes to surface usually from your environment or what you learned growing up, or,
yeah,
who's teaching you in your day to day. And
right,
if your father is hanging out in a dirt pit in a quarry somewhere drinking beers with a bunch of white supremacists making you fist fight your own brother for money,
yeah,
that's usually a bad sign. So it is
yeah,
incredible.
exactly.
There's a great scene that I love in the show. It's one of my favorite scenes where
Mhm.
him and his brother are sitting down, they're like kids, and it's right before they go out to fight. And they're listening to like hair metal and they're rocking out,
Yes.
and they throw up the devil horns, and
Yeah.
he's like, what's that? What's that mean? Is it white power? He's like, fuck white power. This means the devil. He's like, it's about rock and roll, tongue kissing hot babes, and smoking weed. I'm
All the
like,
important values in life.
yeah, dude. And it's like, call that woke or whatever, but I like it.
Yeah. Oh,
I
absolutely.
like
I
it.
mean,
Big
listen,
fan.
there's nothing woke about rocking out, dude. There never has been.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, and again, the fucking the bastardization of the word woke has been a pretty crazy thing too. How, it's been weaponized by the right, and used to
Yeah.
be, yeah, it's
And
basically
it
a
is
new
kind of the
slang.
left's fault because the left turned the meaning of the word into something that it was never really meant to mean.
Right,
Colloquially, it does now mean something else, and it is what it is. But
right.
that's not what it was intended
Well,
for. It
and
was
well, it is intended to be a message upon, amongst the people of the Black community for the most part.
right,
It was a
yeah,
Black
to stay
term
vigilant
from
against
the Black
hatred
culture.
and ignorance.
Exactly, to just
Yeah,
be aware, to be kind of keep your head on the swivel. That's another term. Keep your head on the swivel is another thing that is known in the culture. Something you do. You are always on lookout for injustices that may come your way, for situations that you may end up getting put in, that put you in a bad place that you don't want to be at. Um, and then
right,
that was taken and yeah, and bastardized and weaponized, and that was never what it was meant to be. And I I don't think we should let the right take that word and try to use it as a weapon. I think I think in a way it's become like the new slur. Like,
right,
if you don't have the balls, or if you're not on the right platform to somebody, to call somebody the N word, or to call, a Hispanic person a slur, or to call a gay person or a trans person a slur, you just call them woke instead. And the people that
right,
you're trying to get your message to are gonna understand who you're talking, what you really meant when you said that word woke. Um,
right.
and again, I just, I don't think the people, I don't think it should be used that way.
Yeah, but I also think like when we talk about the right too, it's not like it's not right of center that we're talking about. You know what I mean?
No, it's
We're
far
talking
right.
it's far right.
Yeah,
It's a hyper nationalist way of
right.
thinking that is just not conducive in a civil society that is supposed to accept all people.
Yes.
Uh yeah, so and a lot of that stems from a major distrust of institutions, things that are a lot of Americans struggle with. They feel disenfranchised from government, they feel disenfranchised from healthcare, from just care in general, community.
Right.
um
And these are not
and
exclusively Black things, and they're not
no,
exclusively minority things. They may be disproportionately minority things, but
right,
they are concerns and realities of everybody who should all be aware, and try to avoid it at any means possible. I mean, if we see corruption happening in front of our eyes, if we see corrupt officials leading us into darkness, the people, have a way to change that. It's called going out and voting. It's called,
right, yeah, being
it's
involved, speak,
yeah,
you don't necessarily need a soapbox in today's age. The social media has kind of taken over that
yeah,
space of public discourse,
right,
and not necessarily in a positive way, but when that becomes more relevant in the content we're examining, we'll touch on that a bit more. But it's
absolutely,
just obvious we have a world of misinformation built on algorithms that are tethered to kind of make people fight because negative,
yeah,
um, bad press is good press. And it goes as far back as that ideology is that, negative things sell.
yeah,
The
yeah.
anger
These days, it's all
sells.
about clicks.
Yeah, it's all about clicks. Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
you rage bait. I mean, these are all new terms like clicks, rage bait. Like rage bait, there's people probably have made billions of dollars in the past, few years off of just rage bait alone. I mean,
Dude, and Peacemaker even so funny when he's talking like it's tied in when he's talking about Superman and he's like, "Oh yeah, he's got a scat fetish or whatever the hell." And he's like
yes.
talking shit about him, and he's like, "No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't." He's like, "Aquaman has sex with fish," and the guy's like, "No, he doesn't." He's
Just
like, "I refuse to believe that Pepe the Frog 69 is lying to me on Facebook." It's like,
yes,
oh my
that's where you
god.
should be getting your information from. Absolutely. Pepe69 on Facebook. The only
100%.
trustworthy source for your news.
I mean, I follow. Um,
It's so, and just going, extremist ideologies are definitely something that is poignant, not only in the story of this, but obviously in real life, and that's always what we're trying to draw parallels on. So again, we're going to be having a lot more kind of
of
content that
these
goes into
discussions.
that. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot more of these discussions, so we're not gonna kind of beat a dead horse here, but just kind of want to touch on that. We did definitely touch on misinformation, distrust of institutions. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I think the main thing though that really sticks out about um Chris's character is his struggle with a highly volatile version of toxic masculinity. Um,
yes,
I
yeah,
mean, even like he can't have an emotional breakdown in front of another person. He's always like in a room somewhere by himself, listening to old hair metal, thinking about his brother, fucking punching
right,
the wall type of guy, you know what I mean? But then when
yeah,
he's out in person, he can't even settle down enough to make a friend in the beginning. He's
yeah.
got to be the lone wolf in a room, you know what I
Right.
mean? And
Right,
and
and
be
it's
and be
funny,
the strong man.
everything the way you're describing the things that Peacemaker actually displays in the show, you're almost giving a word for word definition of toxic masculinity, which I do have pulled up here, at least an AI kind of version of it, of the definitions, kind of because there's
Right.
no
You're not
one
going to find it
single
on Webster.
definition. Right,
Right.
exactly. Merriam-Webster doesn't have a definition of it, but the toxic masculinity, it refers to a cultural concept of manliness that includes harmful, socially maladaptive behaviors such as violence, aggression, dominance, emotional stoicism, and the devaluation of women. Sorry, not of
Yeah,
humans, of
yeah,
women.
which
Um,
arguable that they're humans.
it's
No.
arguable, debatable, debatable. They do say that they
Debatable.
come from Mars. They do say they come from Mars, so
I think it's
they may
Venus.
be
I don't fucking
Martians.
know.
Yeah, definitely not Earth though. All
No,
right.
hell no. But
Volumes anyway.
you know, like, and you see it even in the very beginning when he's leaving that dinner where he gets like the dossier and meets Mern and the gang, and he's sitting down with Diebeard.
Dye beard,
He leaves. He's driving
aka
his sick
combos.
ass whip. I love his whip, and he's driving this old fucking Charger, whatever the hell it is, and he
Mhm.
sees Harcourt walking into a bar, and he spins around, goes in, and it's not to have a conversation. It's basically to like pester her to sleep with him.
Right.
And it's like, come on, I just got out of jail here. Throw me a bone, which
Right.
I get that, but there's a time and a place. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
That was
absolutely.
not it, and
No.
that stems from a large part of like that dehumanizing women and kind of selling them as something that's less than what he is.
Mhm. Yeah.
And which I think he gets a lot of growth in that department. He does a lot better. Obviously he still
No,
thinks her
definitely.
tits look stellar. But yeah, I mean it's just a mentality that actually, instead of leading to like leadership roles or strongman ideologies or having a connected group, it actually leads to more isolation in your day to day. If you walk
Right.
around acting like that, um uh, you can't do it for long, man. Not everybody's Andrew
No.
Tate. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, I mean,
yeah,
people need to have some kind of outlet, or else you end up bottling it up and exploding. And when you blow up, people blow up in all kinds of different ways, whether it be drugs, violence, just acting out, uh, poor
right.
performance, even poor performance at work, make you lose your job, all kinds of things. I mean, the the biggest thing, my biggest takeaway is that not only is Peacemaker a product of toxic masculinity, but kind of so is Hardcore. And I think
Yeah.
that kind of is the reason why they're kind of meant for each other. Like I've never seen a woman that suffered from toxic masculinity before, but Hardcore definitely fits the bill, dude. I mean, she's got issues.
A
She's got big
hundred
issues.
percent,
Yeah.
100%. We're gonna touch on her toxic masculinity for season 2 because that's
Yeah,
one of the best scenes I've
absolutely.
seen, without a doubt,
Absolutely.
man. That
But,
deserves a deep dive in and of itself.
but she's
Um,
another one that refuses to be like emotionally vulnerable. She wants so badly to hate Chris for what he did to Rick Flag Jr. But I think as the season goes on and he proves himself to be a valuable asset to the team and actually be like a decent guy. Like deep down somewhere, there's like there's a really decent guy that's desperately trying to come out. I think she's able to
Yeah,
recognize that at some points, and then something deep within her. I think it's a combination of her toxic masculinity and her, the love that she did have for Rick Flag Jr. It just kind of she's not able to like allow herself to get close to him either emotionally or really physically.
right. Yeah. And it's interesting too because you see his lack of hatred for other cultures just in like something as simple as his platonic relationship with Adebayo, and who
Mhm.
ends up becoming, one of his best friends, or if not his best friend.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
and even after she totally betrayed him, on behalf of her mother by planning that fake diary with all the conspiracies and targets that he killed for the government.
Mhm.
Um, it's crazy. And Amanda Waller is, a black woman, but she's
Yep.
also just the embodiment of unaccountable power for the state. I mean,
Yeah.
just doesn't have to answer to anything, is totally, uh, just an imperialist like mentality.
Right.
Um, and I'm sure she has her own reasons for it. We're actually getting a spin-off show about Waller,
Mhm.
which I'm excited to see, like where those ideas stem from, because
Me
she's
too.
probably one of the coldest, most evil people.
Absolutely. Yeah, she's done some atrocious things, absolutely.
Yeah, and
She
just
is a
like
great
in real
character.
life, on behalf of our government and our homeland security, if you will, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, she's many real life people built into one, I think,
Yeah,
in the way they portray her
she's like
character.
a human Patriot Act.
Yes. Yeah, dude. She gets them into some really crazy situations, and then obviously she gets exposed at the end of the season, and it's a big thing, and all the characters suffer repercussions from that, which we're really excited to talk about when we go over season two. I think
Right.
that's like the main thing of the story of the plot line. It's I know James Gunn changed some things as far as how the first season ended because of the new Gunniverse.
DCU,
Yeah,
right?
in the
The
new
Gunniverse,
DCU.
the Gunniverse.
But
I like it.
yeah, the Gunniverse. Oh yeah, if that hasn't been already like coined and used, that's it needs to be. I
It
mean,
needs to be.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll
no
take
one
our
wants a
check.
I'm over multiverses. I will definitely take a Gunniverse. Absolutely. Um,
You know what? Multiverses. We'll talk about it for season two, but like, I, I can't stand multiverses. But I will
they
say,
went
when
a
it's
little
done
crazy
right,
with them.
it's done really well. Like Invincible is a show that has done it really well. Not to get too
Okay,
off
yeah,
topic, but some
right.
people do it well. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, but the main Marvel machine has, man, butchered that
Yeah,
whole idea. Yeah.
yeah. The multiverse madness. It got kind of crazy.
Multiverse madness is exactly what it is.
Yeah,
I think there's a cure for that.
yeah.
Um,
There is. It's called Stop Making Marvel Movies. It's called Stop Going to the Movie Theater. Cancel your Disney Plus subscription. All right,
oh
maybe
my
don't do that.
God, there goes all our future sponsors.
Yeah. All right, Ed and Spencer, cut that.
We got it.
Cut that.
um,
Cut it.
but yeah, the thing I think that Gunn does really well, man, is using comedy as a foothold for making a point. And whether
Right.
you agree with his views or not, or his criticisms or not, um, it doesn't come off as preachy or condescending. It comes off as like just a good entertainment, good fun, lots
Yeah.
of like hilarity. But the second you peel back a layer, you can't help but notice another layer, and you got to keep peeling because it's
Yeah.
so deep. And he
Absolutely.
really knocks it out of the park. And I think he uses comedy really well, where he writes a story that is serious,
Mhm.
but just like in real life, if you know people with a sense of humor and a personality that isn't reminiscent of a dry piece of driftwood, um, then you do get awesome conversations. You get, I mean, even me and you, like, you know, in our day to day, if we're just talking on the phone or hanging out, it's
Oh, yeah.
some of the funniest conversations ever. Oh my God,
Yeah.
you
No, I
know?
have to walk away from people because they're gonna be like, "Why is this guy just hysterically laughing into his phone?" And they just
Right.
don't, you know, they I'm like that. You don't get it. You don't get it.
It's the
We're
drugs.
funny.
Yeah,
We're funny. That's why
we're
you don't get it.
we're
You wouldn't
funny,
get
you
it.
you soulless cretin.
Yeah, and it's like sometimes we go and we start kind of riffing back and forth, just making each other crack up. I'm like, oh, we need to stop this and save this for the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
I'm gonna try to get a rig in my car. That way, when you call me, we can just record the phone. We can just record our calls with like quality audio and just upload that because
The
the
Patreon is
conversations.
coming when
Yeah.
we
Oh
have
yeah.
enough viewers.
Patreon. Yeah. Patreon, Twitch. We'll be doing gaming, all that stuff. Um,
OnlyFans, whatever you want.
yeah. So yes, whatever, anything. Feet pics, absolutely.
Feet pics for
Um,
sure. Not my feet, they're gross. You don't want those. But I got a girl.
yeah. So speaking
Um,
of absurdity, you know, going back to James Gunn's comedy style, his writing style, he does a lot of absurd things that really do kind of disarm you. And
right.
it's going to make the audience willing to listen to what he has to say because it starts off of such like a ridiculous point. So like you have the dance intro. Like the very first thing you're gonna see when you launch this show is a dance sequence with all the main characters and most of them in full costume, and they're just dancing their little hearts out, straight face, just
Even minor characters, dude.
they have no expression on their face whatsoever. They were told to have zero expression on their face though, and it's so
That must have been a
awesome.
hard day filming, man.
Extremely difficult, I'm sure, and, like,
Dude.
even the guys like, the people who don't dance, who aren't, like, physically necessarily capable of dancing, like the guy who plays Augie, I forget his name off the top of my head,
Oh,
maybe
dude,
you could.
Terminator 2. God, what's his
Oh,
name?
wow, I keep forgetting he was in Terminator 2.
He
Um,
was. He
he was
was.
the guy with the arm.
I want to say his name is Patrick Stewart, but I know that's a different guy.
It's not Robert Patrick.
Robert
He
Patrick.
does a great
I
job.
was close, dude. I was close. I was right there. Except,
You
you know,
were
Patrick Stewart
actually.
is a bald man.
Yeah, you
Um,
were halfway there almost. You were halfway there, but backwards.
it's the
Um,
two first names that throws me off.
Indeed. Oh yeah, yeah. Man's got two
Ricky
first
Bobby.
names. Ricky Bobby. Man's got two. I say that whenever I say that to myself, like whenever I get like a customer at work or someone's got two first names. It's like I don't know what
I
to do
don't
with
know
my
what to do
hands.
with my hands.
I told Joy that to the episode when I was telling her we were gonna start recording. I was like, I'm a little bit nervous, man. I'm gonna be on camera. I told her I started going like this. I'm like, I don't know what to do with my hands, and she's like, aren't your hands gonna be off camera? I'm like, yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's
Oh, man.
incredible. Oh my goodness.
So, you know, so you have the dance sequence, which is great. You have Eagly, who is amazing. That's such a good
Vigilante, who is
character.
the greatest source of comic relief.
They're both awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Vigilante, he's so good. And a lot of the things that James Gunn does comedically, it does kind of remind me of a South Park. Like more
yeah.
so probably even than The Boys, even though The Boys is
Superhero
obviously
genre.
another superhero genre with, you know, political and social commentary just like this show has. But the difference with South Park is they are kings of absurdist humor.
Yeah,
Have been
absurdist
for
humor
so long.
and satire. I mean,
Yes,
just
and satire.
absolutely knocking it out of the park. I mean, what it adds up to is like an incredible. It's holding up a mirror to
Mhm.
to
Society.
society,
Yeah,
and that's what South Park does so well, and that's what this show does so well.
right.
It's holding a mirror, and it's taking all the things that are absurd about our society
Mhm.
and not necessarily turning it on its head, but exasperating it or drawing it out
Yeah.
to make you walk around in real life and be like, "Oh, this is this is silly. Like, what? This is
Yes.
silly. This is all
Yes.
very silly. And there's a lot of contradictions in our way of thinking. Like we actively even South Park has touched on this. We actively protest wars constantly, and yet can't wait to jump into another one or sell arms to some country who's doing terrible things. I won't say any names.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this country, yeah.
Anyway, but
Gesundheit.
thank you. But allergy
And
season.
it almost prompts the question of like, why does it seem like comedy sometimes like lands harder than like a serious political drama? Like
Well, yeah.
I'm not gonna watch
I
House
think
of
because a
Cards. I'm just
political
not going to.
drama is an idealized scenario. It's a fantasy in a greater way than something
Mhm.
like Peacemaker, just because of the interactions, you know, that politicians and government people are seen to be making seems
Right.
very disingenuous in a lot of like political dramas and things like that.
Mhm.
It doesn't land the same. And most of those shows, like, are more about character than they are about governance. Like, if you're watching
Right.
The Wire or something like that, it's more about where these characters go on a personal level than it is about a reflection of the times. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
And I also
Um,
think it's
uh,
relatability. I think it's
yeah,
relatability too, because you're not who can relate to, Kevin Spacey's character on House of Cards? Probably not a whole lot of people.
right, right,
But
yeah,
I think
yeah,
there's a lot of people who can relate to Economos. I think a lot of people can relate to Adebayo. I think
yeah,
even a lot of people can probably relate to Hardcourt, and maybe even some things about John Cena as Peacemaker himself, and like things,
right,
struggling with people who raise you to be one way, but you're totally a different way, and you don't know how to deal with those feelings and those that clashing of ideologies and of your wants versus what you were raised to believe that you should want. It's a lot, man. It's a lot to comment on, and I think he does such a great job balancing it to where he really does make a lot of great, like, poignant points with his narrative, with his characters, while not being preachy, while still making like a really good show that you're excited to tune into every week. I think that's
yeah.
what's
I think the point, like the points and what he's trying to say, is secondary to just a good story and
yes.
good character development. But because it's so interlaced, it hits. You know what I mean?
Right.
It just hits, man. And as to what this show, like, its grand question, because I believe every story kind of has a grand question it's asking. I
Mhm.
don't think we could say for certain yet. Maybe every season's got like a little bit of a different question going on. But
Right.
I think for Peacemaker, it's not so much a cautionary tale as much as it's giving people a way of looking at the world that will bring people together, in a sense. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, and that people
Just
can
a little
change,
bit
that
more.
that people, like, not and
Yeah,
like you kinda touched on it before, the duality of man. People are
right.
not one-track creatures. People
No,
make
we
mistakes,
change,
people grow
develop.
from them. Yeah, and Peacemaker is a good example of that, and I think more people could almost lead by that example in a weird way. Like, obviously, I don't
Right.
think you need to kill a high-ranking general and then try to come back from that. Maybe don't do that.
Maybe don't do that.
Maybe don't do that because you
Uh,
probably won't survive the building landing on you and Idris Elba shooting you in the throat. You probably won't survive those things, so don't do that. Uh,
probably not.
but if you just if you take it, maybe take it like a smaller picture and just kind of look at the things. Look at what you want from society,
Right.
and
And try to do
just
your
reflect
best
that.
to reflect who you want to be. You
Right,
know what I mean? Instead
right,
of
right.
what you've been taught or
What
led
does
to believe.
Peacemaker want to be? Peacemaker wants to be a friend. He wants to have friends. He wants to
Yeah.
make the world a
Be
better
in
place, like,
love.
and
He want
actually
yeah.
world make the world a better place, and he
Right.
wants
Yeah.
to yeah, and then
Let's
and
do all the things I think most people want to do. I think people just
right,
get caught up like Peacemaker did. People get caught up in in rhetoric. They get caught
Mm-hmm.
up in these niche groups that kind of feel like one big family, but it's really just a gang. Basically, it's gang mindset at the end of the day
Right.
when you're going to these extremist points of view.
Mm-hmm.
Like look at incel culture. It's one of the largest gangs in the world, if you ask me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, but you don't have to be that person forever. You can crawl out of it, but you can't walk around with blinders and keep yourself in these echo chambers because how that's how we get to kind of where we are today in a lot of circles. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, a lot of
Um,
circles and on both sides for sure. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
I think echo chambers are super dangerous, especially online. You can be terminally online. Many people are terminally online, and they're
Hmm.
nonstop online from the moment they wake up to the moment they close their eyes, and they live in this little echo chamber,
Bubble
this little bubble where, yeah, everything that they consume, everything is
the same.
centered around what they believe in, just fortifying their beliefs or feeding them ideologies and giving them ideas. And again, one of our main objectives on this podcast is for our audience to think for themselves, to use creative thinking and use different pieces of information. And not only, again, when you take that information, you don't need to take anybody's word as gospel. I don't think that's something that's healthy to
Right.
do from any news
No.
source. I think you need to take all the information that's available, and you need to make your own decision on it, how you feel upon it, and how you're going to act upon it. And
Yeah,
I would love
listen,
to,
if you've made it this far into the show, we thank you, and
yeah,
share your views in the comment section. We invite communication and community. So if you have things you want to say, we'll try to respond to the best of our ability, and we're open to discussion on these things. We're not necessarily trying to tell you how we think, even though you can probably tell where we land on the spectrum. But at the end of the day, we're all people, and I think what brings us together is conversation,
mhm,
and it's not just throwing mud at each other and being ridiculous.
right,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah.
Yeah, and
Uh,
then
I think we're all
we
guilty of
want
that.
to, yeah, we want to engage with our audience. We definitely would love to see some comments on our YouTube page. We're going to be posting shorts on TikTok. We're going to be posting videos. We will be responding definitely to comments for sure. I mean, I don't expect the influx of comments and messages to be anything more than we can handle. I really want to engage with anybody who wants to engage with us,
Right,
and your questions will get on the show too. Like, I want to have a section towards the end of the show where we can do some listener questions and ask and answer them, maybe some topics of like categories to go through, like little trivia and stuff like that we can go through and just have
right.
fun with it, man. That's what we're here to do. We're here to have fun. We're going to be learning and growing through this whole experience. And again, like Joey did, I'd like to thank you guys for listening to us talk for an hour plus on our very first episode.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
we're at an
real.
hour and 13 minutes now, and hopefully we're gonna chop this up a little bit, but ultimately we want to give you guys pretty raw footage. It's just two best
Spencer is
friends.
gonna chop this up a little bit.
Yeah, Spencer. Yeah, when I say we is the third, like all three of us, and the three of us mostly. It's Spencer. It's mostly Spencer.
Shout out to
Shout out to Spencer. Lankin's 21. Lankin's 21. You can find him on TikTok. You can find him on Twitch if
We'll
he
throw
still
some of his
streams.
links
Yeah,
in like
he's gonna
under
be our
the bio.
producer. We wanted to have him be like a on camera producer, or at least a on mic producer, a third, kind of be the Jamie to our Rogan sphere. Uh,
Yeah. Right.
Scheduling might not work out, but Spencer, we love you and we appreciate everything you do. Uh,
100%. And also we'll put this part in the beginning, Spencer. Please like and subscribe, write the comments, you know.
yes,
And
follow us at Geeks and Governance podcast.
yeah,
We're on
and
at Geeks and Governance on YouTube, at Geeks and Governance on TikTok. Find us, watch us. Love
yeah,
us because we
love
love you.
us. We
Thank you for watching. No, we love our viewers,
no,
Joey.
we
We
love
love
you.
our viewers. We love them. We love
We
every
love
single
yeah,
one of them,
that's true,
unconditionally.
100%.
Unconditionally.
Even the ones
You
that
can do
murder
anything.
babies.
Yes, you can do it. You can do anything almost, and we'll still love you.
Anything almost. Okay, I roll that back, actually, when we're not pro baby killer. Free hat.
Free hat. Free hat. Free hat. God damn it. Shout out Master and Trey Parker. Shout out to anybody who's made it this long.
Yeah.
Thanks again for listening. Geeks and Governance Podcast, official episode 1 in the books. We're going to be coming to you next week. We're going to be dropping weekly episodes. The plan is to have 3 to drop initially. This may be the first, maybe the third one you listen to. You don't have to listen to them sequentially, but just give us a listen. And again, if you guys have anything you guys want to hear us talk about, any movies, TV shows, or video games, we are open to it. Absolutely. We want to hear what you guys want to listen to. I think
even if it's Gone with the Wind, I hate that movie. I could talk about how much I hate that movie for hours.
God, with the Wind, that's going to be a tough one for me, buddy. I tell you,
it's not exactly geeky.
I might end up being Gone with the Wind on that one, buddy. Sorry, but
it's incredible.
The South Park, we're gonna find a way to touch on that. The more I'm thinking about writing the outline for that podcast, the more I'm realizing it's a massive undertaking. So we're going to figure out how we present South Park to you guys, because that's truly something that we love more than most things on this planet.
We're probably going to be touching on the boys story up until this point, and then
don't say touching on the boys.
Season 2.
You need to find another way to word that. Don't say touching on the boys. Just
I think people are going to like that part. That's a TikTok short right there.
But yeah, The Boys is a great show, which we will definitely be recapping and talking about. And Cyberpunk, dude, our video game. We've been talking a lot about video games. Yeah. We've been talking a lot about TV and movies. We are not going to forget about video games. That's why Controller is part of our logo. We love video games. We have a very big passion for video games. I'm thinking Cyberpunk may be our first video game episode.
I agree.
That might be coming next. A lot. You guys let us know what you want to hear, and we're going to put it out, and we're going to talk some shit. And again, thank you guys for listening. Joey, I love you, brother.
Love you too, man.
Geeks and Governance signing off.